Greetings. Our show for this morning is the fact that Tesla Fremont has been shut down by the Sheriff of Alameda County. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. Usually we're not doing shows at 2 in the morning at East Coast time, but we're doing one today. Basically, the news is that is crazy. So just want to say thank you to our Patreon supporters as well as our subscribers. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we look forward to providing quality information at every turn possible. So where we are, if you enjoy the show, please take time to like and subscribe. And we look forward to your comments and questions from there. So this morning, as I was rolling over and dealing with some West Coast phone calls, I glanced up and noticed that in the Wall Street Journal, it listed the fact that there were some operations of the auto companies that are going to be shut down in Detroit. But in the case of Tesla, the sheriff of Alameda County had determined that Tesla is not an essential business and therefore should cease operations. According to what we read, they're allowed to do payroll or basic factory maintenance and so forth, but no car production is going to be allowed. So that's kind of a shock stunner. Another piece of information that popped up is that, Tesla is involved in something called batch production. So evidently, this process means that at the front of the quarter, you produce very few vehicles, and then you produce them in batches that are large, where you're pushing for numbers at the end of the quarter. So I guess from what I can feel, it feels to me like about 5 to 10, maybe 15% of the production that was expected to be produced and sold would happen in the last 2 weeks of the quarter. And based on the shutdown, that's not happening. So we expect, therefore, Tesla to miss its numbers and obviously be severely harmed by that. So the basis of this is that the process for controlling the coronavirus is to simply have shelter in place, making sure nobody goes anywhere. And so if you're not an essential business, pharmacy, grocery store, gas station, stuff like that, you basically cannot operate. The next question that's obvious is, how long is this going to last? I'm guessing in the likely 5-month department out, because hopefully we have a virus solution by early summer. And as that starts to roll out, that's when we'd probably for sure get back to production. The next question that pops up is, are there any plan B options that come to mind? And one option is to maybe set up a temporary assembly line in Reno, but obviously that's going to take several days to do. And number one, and number two, we can definitely expect production. I'm confident that that solution will occur, possibly in tents. It's hard to see Reno really working right now, even if it was a parking lot tent in Reno, because we're still in the winter months and they're getting snow over there. So I guess you could do heaters or something if you did a massive tent facility, but you cannot produce a great deal. The next plan B that I see that's lurking out there is that there's an option to add a paint shop and a stamping machine to Amsterdam, but I just saw a note come across that all of Europe is shutting down as well, so maybe that plan may not happen. The third plan B is what's happening with China and its capacity. The answer that comes up there is that they're at capacity currently, and they do have some new facilities that are being built out. Could they get it done quickly in the next couple of months? I think based on at least having a shell of a building already existing, it's entirely possible that China could come online within 90 days and actually do some things that would make a dent in this. Um, I really want to say that I'm disappointed in this and shocked, but one of the things we've been hyping on our show for the last 6 months is that the new China facility would actually been done uh, if Tesla had elected to build another China factory instead of starting the process in Germany. That new facility would start producing cars on May 1st. And so I think that this may prompt Tesla slash Elon to sort of rejig what they're doing to allow them to start producing entirely for global production in China, so that the current facility that's up and running can be utilized at the peak to get production rolling again. So we're looking forward to an announcement from Elon on that front. Um, you know, I obviously this is going to jam the stock hard, as though it hasn't been jammed hard enough. Um, I do believe it's lucky that China is complete, and the question is, can it be ramped to handle a lot more production, i.e., all the production, rather than just a fraction of it currently? And the answer to that is we don't know, but they were able to build a whole factory in basically 6.5 months, and at least the external buildings are there now to push for a 250,000 vehicle per year production facility just out of China. And clearly this is a sign of a good reason to go ahead and take out all the stops to get that done. So, I guess, what does this mean? I definitely think it means a very low stock price for Tesla, obviously. Um, uh, Someone just said that they need a pharmacy license at Tesla immediately. Great idea. Um, so our sort of take on this is that, man, what a drag. This is a nightmare. Um, I would say also that do not underestimate the creativity and efforts that might be made by Tesla to get this addressed in the form of perhaps getting manpower over the hill into Reno, some temporary housing, and being able to at least produce, 100 or 200 cars a day. I'm pretty confident we'll get that done. But, when you're at 10,000 cars a week, producing 200 cars a day will get you a little bit of revenue, but really not enough to make a huge dent in what Tesla has to do. So, yeah, I think this is a total nightmare. The only thing that saves it is if there's some miracle method by which we can bring China up in the next 30 to 60 days so it can replace Fremont for production that might go into the global marketplace. This is a real bummer from so many angles, especially S&P is now out of reach, because if you don't reach profitability in 4 straight quarters, you're done. So that sort of affects the growth of the stock price as well. I guess if you look every angle, I can't see an angle here where this does not look like a nightmare, and a very unfortunate one. Again, I really think that there are things Tesla can do to do temporary short runs of production, intent or other things like that in Reno or in counties not affected by the shelter in place. But, there's no way you can produce the lines necessary for routine production in another place quickly enough to save the quarter. But I think that with China available, there's an outside chance that Tesla could get something done there that would allow them to actually do real production rather than just sort of token production that will come out of the facilities being set up, or new facilities that are going to have to be set up that would operate inside or around the Gigafactory. I mean, clearly, think the market will give them a little bit of space because it's not like they did something that causes them to not produce. They're really under the gun from the authorities and had no, not really their fault and nothing they can do. So at this point, I'm looking forward to Elon's creativity coming out and us doing something interesting. I think that the only, huge viable solution right now is to reconfigure buildings in Shanghai to allow all of Tesla's production to move out of the facilities in Fremont into China, because the coronavirus issues are smelling like a at least 3 to 5 month situation, but could be as long as a year situation. So I think that that's enough time for the folks in China to actually get another facility completed so that they could actually pick up the slack for production. So kudos to Tesla for actually having that facility up and running and now at capacity and building out a second space there. But this is not a great situation. And if we could report something brilliant and better than what we can, we would, but we can't. So, any rate, I want to thank all of you for joining us. Wish the news was better. And we'll see what happens. Clearly, this is going to be a devastating shot to the stock price and to everybody's hopes of what Tesla is up to and going to do. But again, there is China and there's some flexibility there on fairly short-term basis to get things done. I think, this really calls for Tesla to kind of shut down what's going down in Germany for now and really get after leveraging their Chinese facilities to expand quickly so that they can bring the company back to life using that facility until they're allowed again to produce it in Fremont. At any rate, want to thank you again. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Please remember to like and subscribe. Please also remember to us on Patreon as well. And we're looking forward to your comments and any news that we pick up that might be useful, we will provide. Have a great day and bye for now.